Dying Obsession. Chapter 3. After lunch we were back in the ship and Chris went down to her studio. We sat in the conference table as usual with Amy claiming a spot in the middle, rather far from me. I moved my chair beside her. The three stooges began their report. They decided to talk rather than mine talk to us. I went into this old lady by the name of Althea Maxwell. She died of cancer, and she was highly sedated because of the pain. She felt no pain and her mind was just like blank asleep or sleeping blank. Before she died, I went through her DNA and saw generations of her family history. She was a retired Navy captain, and her family history showed an ocean-faring clan. Their family can be traced to Norway, absolutely Viking. When she died, I felt her mind was drawn out of her body and I saw her body. It was like the mind melding drew me into her spirit or energy body and I could still see things. Then immediately she was in a tunnel with a very bright light at the end growing quite fast. I personally felt so at peace and all my concerns were all gone. Then I'm back in her body, in the blank lifeless mind. I could still feel her muscles and even her organs. I realized that her body was actively preparing to die like it know it's dying and started shutting her organs down. Like there is a ritual the body undergoes before it dies. I went out and saw her lifeless body. Joe reported. My mind meld was with a young man, about 40 who suffered a stroke and went into coma. His brain had no activity except for brief flashes of some old memories. These were a result of the neurons firing but the memories were quick to disappear. I went through his DNA and saw he was a very active and sports-minded person. Then he stopped being active and started to work on computers. He became fat and the fat state caused his stroke. His family history on the mother's side is very interesting. The family had a history of inventors. The father's side was the athletic side but had the weaker body. If they stopped being active, they literally weaken fast. His mind was strong, structured, and systematic, and based on his history, the family had a strong and creative mind. The family decided his death and were all around him when he expired. His death was well planned. I saw the same light and felt the same feeling of peace and love, but I could not get past the light. But I did see some images of people. But it was very quick. If our kind does not have the super speed abilities, I would probably miss a lot. Larry reported. This person died on the operating table. His heart stopped several times. The doctors tried to revive his heart but after 2 revivals, he's gone. I was fortunate that he saw himself on the operating table being revived. Then he moved out into the hallway, like floating in the air and saw his mother and wife crying. Then he went through a space or large room, like a door with a light at the other side. I felt the same peaceful and loving feeling Larry and Joe felt. Then I found myself floating over his body. I decided to leave. There are 2 things I get from all your travels. 1, there is a light which gives you peace and love. But you cannot get through. Then there is history in their DNA. Matt said. They also got their muscle or tissue feelings or memories. I said. This concludes that there is something beyond the door and in all probability, another world or dimension or plane of existence. Amy concluded and added, did you feel their fear of death? One was heavily sedated, another was in coma, the last one did be afraid but intermittent because of the pain he was feeling. Joe answered. We asked Olive if she knew of any more people dying and there were a few after our mission until this morning. We did go to these, and the moment of death is the same. There is always that transition into a world only the dead can go into. We all could not go through. But there is hope because 2 of those who died did not go through this light but just floated around. When I left one of them, I saw a form of the person floating around. Mo floated around longer with the other guy. I think these dead people are what you call as ghosts. I felt that their soul was not fully intact, or some part of their soul is missing, like when you lost an arm or leg. And the ghost signature is heavier like an energy body wrapped around the soul. I can see the heavy figure completely. Also, I felt their sadness about some events in their lives. It was so fascinating. Since we try to get into their DNA before they die, we still cannot relate the data to the feeling. Our conclusion was that one requisite for going through the light or really dying is acceptance or some sort of personal approval to move on, then shed off the ghostly body. The soul moves on, and the ghost body disappears. I think also that the peaceful feeling and love are there to lure them in to be more agreeable to approve yourself to move on. It was truly fascinating, Larry explained. How do you rate their energy level compared to yours? I asked. If I was rated 1, the ghost would appear more than a millionth of us. Their energy level is so faint but consistent and felt like just one whole unit. I felt that we were connected to their minds but not their ghost, which is that form of energy we are talking about. We can see the ghost and assume the soul is in the ghost body. The soul may be even lighter and or in a different form that can go through into the light. I felt that the ghost dissipates when the soul goes through the light. The energy is nowhere near our form. We cannot feel them if we try to touch them. I think the ghost exists in this world but in another dimension, while the soul that goes into the light exists in yet another plane of existence entirely not of this world and its endless number of dimensions. In a way we can sense these ghosts in this world but not the other plane of existence, Joe explained. There were more deaths in the schedule Olive made up, but mostly during the day. We can do this quickly. We just need at least 5 seconds to go through their history. Add a few seconds more for their travel towards the light. I suspect more of the same. Also, because we have seen the ghosts and felt their ghost signature energy, we can now see them although faint. We can feel their presence then. If we look more intensely, we can see them. This is so fascinating, Amy commented. Let's talk about the DNA work. Matt shifted the conversation. We have a DNA company, and we have a lot of DNA samples. Would it be possible for you guys to decipher the history of the person the DNA of the person belongs to? I asked. We only want to see one DNA. You can cut the DNA and even remove part of a strand and the person can still be formed. The DNA of humans is complex. Each strand carries all the history and memories that the person will need to become human. If you cut out one part, it will still regrow since the other part carries memories or maybe copies of that part you cut. Each is a redundant copy of each of them in a strand. The strand exists for duplication purposes so that instead of duplication coming from just one DNA, there is already a made-up one to follow. If it is missing, then it will have to regrow. The system is more efficient that way. Mo started. The human DNA is fascinating. That is why understanding it is a part of our integration or melding process. When we first integrated with the three of you, we turned to change your DNA to make you telepathic. Along the way, we started to see that your DNA is different, not complex because there were a lot of duplications, but it is so minute. You can fit the information of a city in one DNA, not a strand, but just one. There are different DNA in a strand, but even if you cut one out it will reform. It has information of itself. Further in, there is a part of the DNA that is not matter but an energy wave form. It's like an end of a wave string from another dimension or plane of existence. Since we cannot see anything inside, we just left it as an image of a wave coming from somewhere. It could be the soul you humans know about? Larry picked up where Mo left. The information you can store in one DNA is massive. You can opt to store the information on different strands since it is easier to store and access back if the DNA is already indexed. Like storing something in a different strand then storing another in yet a different strand and so on. The permutations are almost endless. And that is the duplicate strands that may be indexed differently to function differently in the body. But you can also store information in just one DNA, you just must know how to store it in and get it out. And once it is stored into the DNA it is permanently stored. The copies may lose some of this information, but it will regrow to have some semblance of that information. Then full information is done when the reformation is finished, Mo said. One thing about human DNA is repetition makes for permanence. Your DNA carries information on your history. But it still has the capacity to store even more from your future. It was created to last forever. Think about it. If your DNA has memories from when you evolved from maybe millions of years ago, it can still carry information from your history millions of years from now. Joe started. This DNA behavior is what we learned from our history, and so we strive to live longer, then longer. Then our minds were so developed that we thought, why not just shed our bodies and just exist as energy? It took a longer time to do this, but we started a process of making our minds stronger, controlling our minds, and enabling our minds to do certain things without the need for a body. Starting and growing an energy body took us even longer, Mo said. We also have a collective to share information. It's not that our bodies cannot handle the additional information, but it is to share it more efficiently to others, giving them the option to get it or not, Joe said. I get it. You just need to go through your energy form and find the end of a string wave form that connects you to another plane of existence, I said. We thought about that, but we can't find it. There are riots who are doing exactly that, but they are unsuccessful in finding a way for us to die, Joe said. Going back to my original thought. We have a lot of DNA from thousands of people. I was thinking of creating a sort of archive of the history of that person and relate this information to other people and have a picture of what happened in their history, Matt said. We can get in and get that history out. But not completely. It's like looking at a picture rather than being in the picture. If we are integrated with humans, we are in the picture and their history is very easy to read or feel. If it were copies, we can still read them but incompletely because we can only describe what we see. Inside a human we sort of feel the DNA, not really read it, have a clearer understanding until the level of the wave form. In dead DNA, that wave form is gone. Some parts die off or disintegrate. Based on DNA redundancy, we can put a whole DNA picture from several strands assuming each strand is damaged and is not reforming as in a live person. It's like more manual than automatic, Joe explained. Why do you want this anyway? Mo asked. To learn, to understand human history, to know events that happened to them, to see possibilities of improvement and correction, Matt said. For example, if you guys can figure out how human can be telekinetic, maybe this is a superpower humans can move into, I said. It's too early for you guys to have it. Think about it. You are used to machines and technology, telekinesis eliminates a lot of machine use. But it also requires a lot of human energy. Your mind must be made stronger, last longer and efficiently consume energy. But it can be done. It just needs time to make it permanent. I mean that if I change your DNA to be telekinetic, it will revert back to the old form when it reforms. Now if you have kids with the already altered DNA in you, your kid will have them in short form. This alteration grows over time. Again, repetition makes for permanence, Joe said. Add the fact that you have to learn how to move things. For example, I communicate with Olive using the machine receptor. But I can also telekinetically move the receptors or send a waveform that Olive understands. It is a more complicated ability to learn, let alone master. Maybe in a few hundred years, once you get used to the telepathic talking. This telepathy thing shortens very long conversations and is the most efficient form of conversation. Sometimes it's a feeling or whole picture or set of pictures or events that you communicate telepathically. Without telepathy, you need several hours to communicate it properly that the other person understands, if ever, Mo added. Take artists like Chris. She communicates through an art form. Can you imagine if she could communicate her feelings directly to a person? How would that person feel? Would it be the same? Maybe not. But telepathically communicating a scene with the feeling attached is easier and more efficient than a painting if the other person is telepathic also. But you are not assured that the person will understand the feeling. Remember that artists' mindsets are in the fringes, they are not your normal mindsets, so normal people may not get them. Telepathy is the same but provides you a higher probability that the feeling or idea is received correctly, Larry said. You think it would be more effective to read the DNA of the person in our DNA archive than the DNA in the archive? I asked. Yes, and easier too. We can just go in when they are sleeping, Joe said. Okay, so it's settled then. You go into our sleeping clients. I think we will learn a lot, Matt said. I think that we also have to teach our DNA scientists how to understand the DNA that they have, I said. Sure. We would have to devise a machine to show them, which is really beyond your present technology, Mo said. A machine that can make you rich? I said. A box with a drawer appeared. You put a sample on this drawer and the hologram of the DNA appears that you can zoom into. It also provides you with all the information you need in this hologram, Joe said. That will not work. It's too high-tech, Matt said. Let's just go the round of getting into our sleeping clients and see what happens, I said. Why don't we talk about Smoothie? Amy cut in. I have several scenes where Smoothie can save the day, Olive said and showed a list on the screen in front of us. Number 1 is a bus falling off a bridge in Thailand. This one is an accident in Los Angeles where a car will hit several people. The third one is a person trying to commit suicide. This is in Louisiana and a robbery will happen where people will be taken hostage. This one is about a naughty boy going into a lion's cage. This one is about a fire and a family is trapped inside. Another building fire in New York, a mother and a baby may die. This one is a simple store robbery. An oil rig explosion in the ocean. There will be more in the coming weeks, Olive said. I don't think we should go to Thailand. The US media here will not pick the story up, I said. I think it's still good. The question is, how does Smoothie stop the bus? Will he use a rope or be like Superman and carry the bus and set it back on the road? Amy said. I can appear as flying but actually teleporting intermittently. And the bus will be teleported intermittently as well, but combined with inertia and gravity will look like it's flying up then down, Larry said. The drama there is that you go inside the bus and try to make sure everybody is safe and assure them that help will be coming, Matt said. Do you know how to speak Thai? I asked. No, but I can learn it fast, Larry said. Just talk in English with little Thai so they know you're a foreigner American. Then we'll just tip the media here about that, Amy said. The car pedestrian scene is easy enough. I can just stop the car, Larry said. No, you have to find drama in it. How about talking to the pedestrians? Make sure you appear stupid when you talk, Amy said. With the person trying to kill himself, we can just talk to him or appear talking to him, but we have already altered his mind to not kill himself, Mo said. Very good, Mo, you should be a superhero yourself, I said. Actually, you can just appear as Smoothie, and they might recon that Smoothie can be in 2 places at once, Amy said. The hostage drama would need superhuman speed. That in a blink of an eye, which is 10 milliseconds, you bring out the robbers one by one tied up in front of the police, Joe said. The boy in the cage is a special since you can wrestle with the lion instead of moving the boy out with your super speed, Amy said. I can teleport in various parts of the cage with the lion as we struggle, Larry added. Show a definite struggle as if you are really having a hard time, Matt suggested. Make sure you talk to the boy and his parents after. But make sure that you talk stupid so the parents will know that you are stupid, I said. Saving the family in the fire is like the bank robbery. Just make sure you talk to them. If you have the change, talk to the medics as well and tell them what's wrong if ever, Amy said. What if we concentrate on some hospital patients and we cure them? Matt conjectured. That would create a huge demand for smoothie services, I said. Then we create several smoothies who go into hospitals and cure people. That will make the pharma companies angry and might want to kill Smoothie, Matt said. I think that will work. But only for those we can cure because some are complex combinations of illnesses. And we have to do this at night. I have chores to do, Joe said. But you have to make sure that the patient knows it's Smoothie who cured them, Amy said. Smoothie would have to wake them up. Why not just talk to the nurses so it becomes a collaborative effort? And the nurses will validate him. Also, Smoothie should try to flirt with them but making sure he looks stupid. One scene can be that a nurse asks him to clean his house. He cleans it fast but puts all the things in the wrong place. Then he leaves a sizable amount of money to pay for the mistakes he did, Matt said. Larry looked at Matt approvingly. Is there a way to monitor the event so we can tell Smoothie how to make the scene even more dramatic and stupid? I asked. They have these floating drones that I can control. They are so tiny, like quarter-inch round, but we can get very good videos from them. They would have to mind create them. A small box containing hundreds of small round objects appears. I did that, Mo said. Can we create a video feed from these drones? Amy asked Olive. We can, and we can send them to the media as well, Olive said. This will be SOP for all of Smoothie's missions, I said. You would be a movie star in an impromptu movie, Matt said, delighted. A superhero movie star. I like that, Larry said. A stupid and overly dramatic superhero movie star, Matt corrected. We'll need a marketing strategy. Let's create a reality channel for Smoothie. I will try to buy a spot in a national network. I am thinking of hiring a good and famous comedian to be a perpetual commentator of Smoothie's misadventures. Imagine this. He has several large screens behind him, and he comments on all of what Smoothie does. He makes fun, he insults, he points out the drama, he points out the stupid. The events could be live, and some are old events but have never been reviewed by him. But at the end of the day, Smoothie is the superhero who does good, and nobody can kill him, I said. I think that the channel will add to the fun. He can even suggest on how to kill Smoothie. Of course there would be failures, but he persists and makes fun also of the attempts to kill Smoothie. This will prompt the criminals to do something that will work if they find out how all the attempts so far failed, Joe said. A stupid and overly dramatic superhero movie star. After a few episodes in the channel, we'll make a 2.5-hour movie, Matt said. Amy and I looked at Matt. Wow, I think it will be a blockbuster reality movie, Amy said. I love it, Larry shouted. Let's talk about money, Mo said. I think one of the largest and easiest to get money from are white-collar crimes. Let's take those that scam old people or kids or organizations. Those that bribe and steal from regular folks and small businesses, I said. Mom was a victim of these scammers. We would have to dig up some proof and do some investigations. We may know what will happen and who did it, but we have to show the public proof and these guys must be prosecuted. After we get their money, of course, Amy said. Matt looked at his sister and don't think like me or John. Just be yourself, sis. It's how you investigate that's funny, dummy. You could try the direct approach like sitting in their meeting and making fun of them. Or stealing some documents and showing them in a funny way, Amy said. Okay, I thought you were saying something else, I said, and Matt laughed. How about political crimes like politicians or judges accepting money? They could be a good source of money too, I said this time. No, the politicians are paid peanuts and they're happy about it. Judges are no different, Matt said. Follow the drug money. Anything illegal is lucrative, Amy said. No, I mean lucrative source of fun, she corrected herself. Not our politicians. Foreign dictators and leaders. These guys have billions in foreign banks. They are also usually in collusion with their country's richest people, I said. Okay, that's different, Matt said. I think we should have 2 comedian commentators, Olive said, out of nowhere. We all looked at Olive. Even the 3 stooges turned to look at Olive. I think that's a very good idea, Olive, Matt commented. Thank you, but it's just one of the events I postulated to fill in for another event to happen. In front of you are the potential candidates, Olive said. I like this Indian guy. He's so funny, I said. No, I like this guy from California. He's Mexican and has a successful TV series, Matt said. This white woman from Ireland is so funny, but her jokes are sometimes scandalous, Amy said. I think this Mexican guy is the most successful and also the most expensive of the three, Matt added. In conclusion, it's the Indian and the Irish woman. 2 accents, 1 people of color, gender equal, I said, and Matt nodded. Amy smiled. You know what will add fun when we steal anything? Leave a copy of what we stole. Like if we stole gold bar, we leave wood painted in gold. Or if paper money, we'll leave funny money, Mo suggested. I think you are getting the hang of it, Mo. Remember, not only are we stealing these, but we are doing it internationally. I think we should learn how to speak some languages like Spanish, I said. We can help with that, Joe said. Now I just need to integrate with a Spanish-speaking person, get his skills and mindset and transfer these to you guys, Joe added. As long as it's only language skills, not anything else, Amy said. I would suggest you integrate with a real polyglot who speaks dozens of languages. That way it's all in one shot, I suggested to Joe. I have that person. Olive showed the face of a person on the screen in front of us. Joe became quiet, and after 10 seconds. Okay, I have it. It will only be 2 seconds, guys. He speaks 28 languages. After 2 seconds. Wait, I still can't read Thai, I said. Me too, I can't read Chinese characters, Amy complained. He doesn't either, Joe said. Amy looked at me complaining with her eyes. As long as we understand and can talk some, it's fine with me, Matt said. It's still good, I can talk to the locals when I do my superhero act. But I will talk using different accents, Larry said. Like talking in Thai with an Irish accent? Amy asked. Or talking in Indian with an Australian accent. Remember, I'm super, Larry said. But get the accents mixed up. I think it's funny and stupid, I said, complaining, and Larry nodded. Joe, Larry, and Mo started talking in different languages using an entirely different accent. We were all laughing our heads off. Chris appeared. I'm hungry. How about steak? Amy asked, and Chris nodded. I like steak, I said, and Matt agreed. Olive, there's this steakhouse in Sydney by the water, Amy started. There are several, Olive said, and put them up on the screen. That one on the top left? Amy said. They just opened up, Olive said. I will teleport you into the bathrooms. You guys come with us. You too, Olive. Pretend that you are eating and drinking, I said. Olive, let's go, Matt said. We found ourselves in one bathroom, all 8 of us. It's a good thing it's really clean and big. This is an all-gender bathroom, Olive said. All species too, if you ask me, I said as we quickly got out. The servers were looking at us, trying to understand how we got past their customer line. When they heard Amy talk with Chris, they realized we were just stupid Americans who usually get lost. They sat us outside overlooking and across the opera house. I noticed that Larry earlier has turned to look like an Indian while Mo looked Chinese. Joe was white. I'm German, Joe said. Then they started talking about the weather, which was a nice 22 to 23 degrees centigrade, with an Australian accent, and it was so funny. I could not imagine a German talking in English with an Australian accent mixed with a German accent. But they're doing it. Olive did not wear her uniform but dressed in an Indiana Jones-style jacket complete with a hat. You look so pretty, Olive, Amy said. Thank you. This is actually an Australian oilskin vest and an Akubra hat with a feather, Olive said. Okay guys, since you're all locals, you do the ordering? Matt told the 3 stooges. The waitress did not seem to notice anything peculiar with the 3 who were all talking with a local accent and assumed they were locals. But I noticed they ordered dozens of steaks. Why so many steaks? I asked. Take home, for Mom and Dr. David. Some are uncooked? Amy answered. Olive butted in and ordered some local wines in Australian accent as well. Amy and Chris were mind talking about the people around us. Have you researched on the crime lords in Australia, Olive? I asked. Not yet, there are so many US-based criminals who are doing crimes all over the world. They usually have criminal ties with those of their country of origin. But I do have some for Mo to work on, Olive answered. I thought Larry would be doing the stealing. Mo asked. You're the one trying to get rich. You're the one doing the stealing, Matt said. Olive, we need to form companies around the world to trade in rare earth and precious metals, Mo said. I am doing that right now. Australia is on the top 3. I am also getting into their databases to create identities of people who will own the companies, Olive answered. We'll just create the metals by thinking about it. But we would need to buy a little from a lot of sources, but when we sell it would be millions of times the real quantity. We just need to establish that the company is in the industry although new, Mo said. Good, you're really into the game, I said. The easiest to steal would be those assets hidden in safes, underground bunkers, or buildings. Some are just buried underground, Olive said and continued. I have a list. Mo can just go in, teleport the items, leave fake items and leave. We'll start with those. We'll just store them in the lowest level of the ship, Mo said. Tonight? Olive said. They were still talking in the local accent. Olive mine told me that a Cessna plane is having engine trouble. Then I noticed Larry sitting quietly looking at the table. By the time the food arrived, which was average quick, Larry was back and smiling. It was so funny. I flew in beside the plane. Knocked on the side door and got in. Sat beside the pilot and asked what's wrong. He threw a fit at my stupid question. He did not even think where I came from. Anyway, I told them I will set your ship on that park over there. I positioned myself in front of the plane holding the propeller that had stopped. Then I carried the plane on my back and set it on the grass. Did you deploy the drone cameras? Amy asked. I did, Olive answered. Then we started eating and end meal. A report on the TV came on. We could see Super Smoothie in his pink suit and pink mask by the side of the plane, get inside, then in front holding the middle of the propeller and then under the belly seemingly carrying the plane. Then we saw the plane on the grass with a lot of people in the park running towards it. Smoothie took a flying pose and disappeared. I was not able to tell them my name, Larry said, showing a sad face still with an accent. Who is this man in pink? The announcer asked. Then she points to a social media picture of Smoothie posing before flying was put at the upper right of the screen. It seems like we have a local superhero. But this is impossible. Nobody can fly out so quickly, not to mention fly beside the plane and carry it down. But that's all on film. Then a video taken by the couple at the back of the pilot showed Smoothie getting berated by the pilot when Smoothie asked in an Indian-Australian accent, "What's wrong, sir?" He shouted, "Are you stupid, mate?" That is so funny, Matt said. Good job, Larry, on your first save. You were stupid and funny, I said. There is a lost dog, and this little girl is looking for it. The mother is getting tired and desperate. Looks like a job for Super Smoothie, Larry said and stopped moving. In less than 2 minutes he was back. I got the dog, but it was a wrong dog. I asked Olive where it is and got the dog back to them. Smoothie said. Did you tell them your name? Amy asked. Larry became quiet again and in a minute he was back. This time I did. I told them my name twice and they looked at me questioning why I had to return and tell them my name twice. They did not even question how I appeared in front of them out of nowhere. Larry said, perplexed. I think this is also stupid and funny, I said. I agree, Matt said. I think we should have a rating system to say exactly what the level of funny and stupid is, Chris said. I think drama should be rated as well. We'll call it FSD rating, Amy added. I would rate that 7 for 6 for funny and 7 for looking stupid. There was very little drama, so 4 for drama. The pose before flying is dramatic but needed audience contact, Chris rated. For me it's 7, 8, and 2, I said. For me it's 8, 7, and 3. We need to add more drama, Matt said. I guess there's room for improvement, Joe said. I think Smoothie should show some more effort being expended and extreme hardship in his performance, Mo said. We all nodded in agreement to the suggestion to improve drama. He must connect with his audience and their feelings, he added. Olive went to the cashier and paid our bill. Let's all go out and into the parking lot in that building. I know a place where we can disappear, Olive said, and we all stood while she picked up the take-home steaks. Mom will be back in 10 minutes, Olive said. She teleported us in our living room and Joe got the cooked steaks and set them on the table complete with fork and knives, and glasses. Olive, run and get some soup and bread, Joe said, and Olive stood quietly staring at the dining area. I got some beer from the ref and gave some to Matt, Amy, and Chris. Along the way I saw the steaks were huge. I thought maybe our house is small, making the steaks look bigger than normal. Olive disappeared and reappeared with a bag. Joe set the bread and soup on the table. As we were drinking, Matt opened the TV and right there, we saw the news feed from Australia in the local channel. We have the name of the masked superhero. It's Super Smoothie, the announcer said. Then the TV showed the girl and her mother being interviewed, and the little girl told the reporter that he said his name twice, pointing to his chest. He looked so stupid in the pink costume, and he even got the wrong dog. But he got it right the second time, the mother said. Did you go to Australia? It was my mom. We all stood and gave her a hug. Even Olive hugged her. We had dinner there, Chris said, and hugged her dad, then mom. The Three Stooges were now in their server uniforms. Your dinner is ready, Joe gestured towards the table. This time my mom did not go to her room and changed but sat down. Dr. David also sat across from her. Then Joe poured some red wine into their glasses. I am really enjoying this, Mom said as she looked at the table. Those are steaks we bought from the restaurant in Sydney across the Opera House. The soup is squash I bought from a local restaurant at the strip mall, and the red wine we brought back from Sydney as well, Olive said. Olive is becoming really useful. Maybe Joe can just work as a villain full time. Chris, if you are not doing anything, can you choose the best 2 comedians that will host the channel for Smoothie? Matt requested. I explained our preferences and what we talked about. But you can open the field to those who you think are good for our purposes, Matt added. Sure. I have one in mind actually, but I will talk to those too. I guess we need to look for backup just in case one or both of them do not agree. John, any figure in mind? Matt said. $2 million a year for each for the first year, and we'll negotiate for the second year, I said. You're assuming Smoothie will not get killed. I guess that may be true, Chris said, and added, I would suggest that we run a short contest, like a singing contest, for the first 10 jobs of Smoothie. All of us will rate them, but also have the people send in a text rating of the comedians. Then we'll choose the best based on people texts and our decision. That's a very good idea, Mo said. I like it, Larry said. Okay, let's do that, Matt said. There are a lot of missions in the next week, hundreds, Olive said. Where do you get all this information on future events? Mo asked. I just ask Matt's brain and I get a picture of the event. Matt does not even know I am asking because all happens very fast and in the background. I do not want to bother Matt with these things. I also ask Amy's mind sometimes, Olive explained. Can we choose the mission Smoothie will get into? Chris asked, and Amy looked at her. We have to have a criteria, like, if there will be someone injured or hurt. Property crime should be the least of our concerns. Those missions involving people are the most important and personal, Amy said. Unless the property crime can have a very high possible FSD rating. We all agreed to this. I am sending the first 20 missions, their possible FSD rating, timestamp, duration allocation, and number of people involved, Olive said. I like the missions listed, Matt said. Matt, you don't have to like them, they will happen whether you like them or not, I said. I am liking the list as listed, not the events, Matt explained. I like the list as listed as well, Smoothie said. Why are the events starting on Monday? And it all ends on Friday? I asked. Standard work week. In fact, Smoothie should just work 4 days. We do not want to burn out our superhero, Olive said. Olive, we are here to kill Smoothie, not keep him alive and not be overworked, Matt said. Yes, but the people will think he is being overworked. That includes the support staff who have to work on weekends just to keep up with him. We'll just justify the weekend work by getting other people to work on weekends, Matt argued. That would affect his image. It's stupid for a superhero to have weekend breaks, Olive said. I agree. It's stupid, I said, and we all looked at each other. One of the events is a car falling off a road. It's a simple save by teleporting the car back to the road. This has a very low FSD rating. Smoothie should think about what will increase the FSD, Chris said. It's a filler mission between 2 missions. There are other possible fillers, but this is the best one to use as filler, Olive explained. There will be a lot of missions with low FSD, but Smoothie should develop his skill in raising the rating while on mission, Mo said. Joe got us another round of beer. This time Chris wanted wine. Thank you, Joe. Let's talk about Joe. Have you thought about your supervillain assassin roles? I asked as I got the beer. I think the best approach would be a direct approach. I will simply teleport all the crime lords and tell them what I want. Of course, they will not agree, so I will just change their mind, Joe said. Change as in literally alter their personalities? I asked. Very low FSD, Chris commented. Okay, let's get them to an island. We teleport them to the villain's island lair. I talk to each one and of course nobody agrees. But then I try to convince them as we talked. I am already in their heads and messing them up. Then we teleport their second in command, then top dogs. We go into a meeting and the crime lord tells his people to follow me, and as we talk, I change the minds as well. In the end the organization is now changed to follow me. Still very low FSD, Smoothie said. No, I think you're missing the drama, the push and push, the threat, the pain of not agreeing but still threatened. Artists are not at all dramatic, but there is beauty and art in the scene, Chris said. Yes, to see what others may miss, Mo agreed. First of all, I am not sure how we can air these events. It should not be judged like Smoothie's adventures. There could be an artistry in some form, Joe said. I think you should just go into their heads while they sleep. Find out where their money and stash are hidden. Then we'll just steal them. No drama. Just money, Mo said. I guess if they do not have any money, it's going to be very hard to be a crime lord. Joe said. I know it may be boring to you, but think about it. You're still on mission to get money and rid the market of all the drugs and things that they do. Without money, they cannot even pay for food or gas. Mo said. I think you should be the one doing these, not me. You get all the money that I get from them. Joe said. If all the crime lords lose their money, then who do I fight with? Smoothie asked. You don't have to fight, just talk to them, threaten them like a mafia godfather. Then we will find out later, they stop doing the things they're doing. We'll mess up their minds a little bit and have them do good things. Just be dramatic when you talk to them. And you don't have to teleport them to an island. Just visit them in the offices. Remember, they don't know we went inside their heads. Even if they know and we know that they are poor, they will pretend to be rich. So just display drama in threatening them, I said. I have provided all of you with a list of the crime lords and their top dogs. I arranged them from richest to poorest. Mo can start with those as listed, secretly stealing all their hidden money. Then Smoothie gets to meet them and dramatically threatens them on live feed. Then Joe will take over their businesses off-screen. Olive said. Wait, what if the authorities pitch Smoothie to catch the new kingpin? I asked, trying to figure out the story. Joe will only work on weekends, Olive said. And if I don't work on weekdays, what do I do? Joe asked. Duh, I said. You're an alien. You can do anything on weekdays except being the top crime lord. Basically, disappear and live an entirely different life with a different body. I can get the governments to kill me on weekdays, Joe said. No, you can only do that on weekends, Olive said. Okay, I will challenge the governments and arrange with them to kill me on weekends, Joe said. Do it in a deserted island. Government workers tend to be messy, Amy said. I would suggest you deal with white-collar crimes on weekdays but incognito, I told Joe. I think Mo should be the one dealing with them. After all, it's all about money, Joe countered. Okay, fine, I'll do it, Mo said. There are several cabals of rich people trying to control their part of the world. I am sending the list to you now. You can go into their heads and know all they know. Then you can plan your move, Olive said. I like the direct approach. It saves time and effort, Mo said. I think you should also put drama in it, Smoothie said. After I know what they know, I will control them to transfer their money to my account. Then I will appear before them and talk about taking over their businesses, Mo said. Drama, Mo, drama, I said. You must understand that all of these will be on drone camera and portions of these would be sent to the media, Matt said. Most of the media will not agree to air those. Olive, you must just feed them yourself, Amy said. Yes, Amy, I will feed the videos myself using their network, Olive said. Chris stood and wanted to work on her painting. She hugged everybody and disappeared. Okay guys, I also want to retire now. You three can start the mind reading tonight, Matt said. After you clean the house, Amy said, and with that she went over to Mom and hugged her. That night before we slept, I asked Amy if the riots can be killed with all our activities and she said, no. They will not get killed. Why do we have to do all of this then? They could have asked Matt if they can be killed. But they did not, they just wanted to hope to get killed and have fun doing it. Besides, it will make our world better while they are doing it. I understand. Let's have lunch in Lisbon tomorrow. That would be dinner in Lisbon, Amy said, and I kissed her my agreement. I asked Joe how to connect our minds so I can take you with me through my travels, and he just said, you are not traveling but images flash in your head as if you're traveling. But there is a thought thread where the end of that thread is in the place you visit. That is how they saw Matt for the first time and were able to communicate. Also, because he asked first. You will see images like I communicate images to you or like Olive communicates to you, say the list which is an image. Can you do it tomorrow? I want to rest, I said. Oh, I know what you want, Amy said and proceeded to kiss me. The next day, Olive woke us up early and we sleepily went to the dining room. Matt walked in and started, we are having leftover steak. I will make breakfast burritos. Chris walked in wearing pajamas. Good morning, guys, Chris greeted. She saw the steaks. Steak burrito, she exclaimed. Are you a mind reader or what? I asked. The three stooges appeared. Hi guys. How was last night? Chris asked. Mo started. I went to 30 criminal minds and now I know what they know. I know where the stash of money are, where the drugs are or will be, all their assets and where they spend their money on. Tonight, I will work on the next 30. Tomorrow I will start with the richest crime lord. Joe added Larry and I went also to read the minds of leaders of more than 24 countries, and more than 100 billionaires. We found who the cabal members were, their groupings and the operations they are conducting to control their part of the world. Some of them have money stashed away. Most have bank accounts. We will have to mind control them to have them personally transfer their money to our account. It will take time. You are moving quicker than I thought, I said. Olive sent invitations last night to more than 24 comedians who will participate in judging the FSD values and making fun of Smoothie's activities. The ads will go out today, so the shows will start tomorrow. It will run for a week at 3 comedians per day. John, how much will I pay them again? Chris asked as she went to make her espresso coffee. $100K for participating. And $200,000 per episode if hired for the show, I said. Okay, good. Mo, can you help me please? I can only do this for a few hours a day because I need to paint. I want you to be there when I am not available, Chris said, and Mo nodded. Olive appeared and, this is your identity, Mo. Beside Olive appeared a good-looking bearded young guy. Mo then changed his image to the bearded guys. You can use the 2nd and 3rd floor of our building along Rainier for your operations. I am communicating the details to you now. Right now, I am installing all the electronics you will need. Furniture will be delivered by a furniture rental company at 9 a.m. We are having lunch in Lisbon, Amy said. Chris and Matt nodded. After breakfast I went to my usual rounds where I talk with the corporate CEOs. Matt would usually attend to his personal projects in the 4th basement or read the Financial Times and get some inspiration to make money. His latest project is to train Olive to trade automatically using the future events Olive gets from his mind. Amy and Olive went to work on the nonprofits. Joe and Larry went around reading and also getting on the dying until they actually die. Mo and Chris went to work on interviewing the comedians who showed up. Chris went out to her car and Olive suggested using one of the corporate cars. She teleported Chris and Mo into the garage. I will just use the Lambo, Olive. Mo, do you know how to drive? Chris asked. Yes, I do. I was supposed to be Amy's driver. They got in and drove to the office building Olive told them to go to. They found the building full of people, but Mo noted to Chris that 5 were actually Olive facsimiles in solid energy bodies. One Olive directed them to a room where they will be interviewing the comedians. Mo and Chris sat behind a desk and Olive directed the first comedian to the room. What's your name? Chris asked since she really does not know him. My name is Oswaldo Green and I have appeared in several stand-up comedy shows. Olive showed a clip of Smoothie saving the plane on one of the large screens on their left. Were you able to read the email? Comment on this please, Mo said impersonally. I did read your email. Here, I think he should have entered through the driver's side, this side here. It would be more direct. He paused. If he is trying to be a superhero, he is failing right now. Next. Chris said softly and Olive guided the comedian out and ushered in a new one. I think we will be here for a while, Mo commented. This comedian came in a costume. Who might you be? Asked Chris. I am Reporter Man. I report and mess up the story, he said. He was in a tight snake-scale overalls with black leather accents, white boots, and a gray cape. No mask. Okay, report on the scene. Again, the TV show Smoothie and the plane. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, this Superman in pink will try to race with this plane. No, I think he wants to board for a free ride. See, I'm right. Now he is out of the plane, probably kicked out by the pilot, so no ride for him. Now he is trying to stop the plane by holding the propeller. What does he want? All this for a free ride? Wait, he is now carrying the plane. That only shows that he does not want a free ride. I think he felt hurt by the pilot shouting at him, that's why he stopped the propeller. Now he is carrying the plane to safety. He did not get a ride and he got scolded by the pilot. Another bad day for our superhero. Thank you. You may go now. We'll call you when we make our decision, Mo said. Mo, I think we should get a tandem to test. 2 comedians at a time, Chris suggested. The combinations of 24 comedian will take time, Mo said. I can just match their comedic qualities so that each pair would have the widest range possible, Olive suggested. Let's try that and begin again tomorrow, Chris said. I will send them all home now and email to them the matchup, Olive said. Mo, let's go to New York and visit some museums of art there, Chris said, and Mo agreed. Olive, give me a minute to get your tickets. 10 minutes. Also, you need to change images. This is for you, Mo, and Chris, this is for you, Olive said. Mo this time gets the image of a woman in her late 30s while Chris is slightly older at early 40s. How do I change, Olive? Chris asked. Just stand still and I will wrap you in a very thin solid energy outer form complete with hair and dress, Olive said. I don't feel any different. A bit tight around the body, okay in the arms, and my head feels heavier, Chris said. It will adjust to you. To undo, just tell me or Mo and he can just undo it, Olive said. Olive held a round mirror for Chris to see herself. We all met again in a restaurant in Lisbon for lunch. It was actually night in Lisbon, so it was dinner. We ate outside the restaurant on the street as many of the restaurants in the area were doing. Olive briefed me on all the nonprofits we established, 280 total so far. We were in Europe most of the time, although half of the nonprofits were US-based. I met with the lead organizing executive who will do the organizing and staffing, Amy told me while eating. Honey, remember when Mom talked about the cat and the cow? Yes, there are actually a lot of animals needing help for one reason or another. You want to create a nonprofit to take care of the animals that do not have a home, Amy said. Yes, and also help those who provide a home? I said. I will work on that. It will change Smoothie's schedule a bit, Olive said. Chris and Mo discussed the progress or no progress. Larry and Joe were still excited to talk about their mind readings and near-death experiences. Matt read and discussed with Olive some possible business ventures we can go into. It was all boring stuff, so we decided to hit the clubs.